agenda?
I'll so move.
Good.
I'll
Doug,
second.
seconded. Motion carried. Or do we need a vote? Raise your hands if you approve. Brent, are you? I can't see
Yep.
your hand. There you go. Okay. Motion approved. Any pecuniary interests in the items that are before us?
None here.
Hearing none, I think we can proceed. The minutes of our last meeting, December 9th meeting. Any changes or additions to the minutes?
No.
No.
Hearing none, can we have a motion to approve the minutes as sent out?
So moved.
Moved,
I'll second.
and seconded. Vote on the motion? Any,
Yes.
those approved? Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Motion carried. Okay, we've got the two items before us. We'll start off with the John and Diane Denton A01-221. Paul, are you going to talk about your presentation?
Mr. Chairman, the author of the report is Mr. Josh Berry, the new manager of approvals for the municipality of Brighton. So maybe I'll ask Josh to brief the committee on the application, and Josh might also have another visual presentation as well.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, I do have a PowerPoint presentation that I would like to review. So I'll share my screen here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep, that's,
Yes.
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay, perfect. Put this in this corner. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. So you can minimize that. Okay. So thank you. So Mr. Chair, members of the committee and the public, the purpose of this application is to permit an accessory building of an interior side yard setback of 0.80 meters, whereas a setback of 1.2 meters is required. There's also another variance for a second building, which is to permit an accessory building of an interior side yard setback of 0.35 meters, whereas a setback of 1.2 meters is required by the bylaw. So the background is there are two accessory buildings on this property. The first accessory building was constructed in 2003 and was reconstructed in 2014. The second accessory building was constructed in 2013. Both accessory buildings are constructed on a concrete pad and bolted to a concrete floor. The method of construction would make it difficult to relocate the buildings without requiring demolition. So this is an air photo of the property. It is on the south side of Kelly's Lane, which is on the north side of the shores of Lake Ontario. It's just outside the village. So four tests of a minor variance are outlined in the Planning Act. Those, of course, are the general intent and purpose of the official plan is maintained. General intent and purpose of the zoning bylaws maintain. The variance is desirable and the variance is minor in nature. So I'm just going to provide a brief overview of why it's the staff's opinion that these applications meet the four tests. So the first one is general intent and purpose of the official plan. The subject property is designated as shoreline, residential, and environmental protection under the municipality Brighton official plan. The Lower Trent Conservation confirmed that the buildings are located outside the flood hazard limits and dynamic beach hazard. LTC also noted that the application would not result in a negative impact to the fish habitat as no new development is proposed. The current location of the accessory buildings meets the intent of the official plan to direct development away from the shoreline. General intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw is to ensure adequate separation is provided between property lines for maintenance and good grading and drainage. Site visit completed by planning staff on April 30th, 2021, confirmed that there is adequate space between the accessory building and neighboring property, complete general maintenance without entering the neighboring property. There are some site photos here. This is the first building, which is seeking a request of 0.8 meters. There's a second photograph of the second building, which is seeking a request of 0.35 meters. Desirable development. The existing accessory buildings are generally compatible to built form existing development in the area in terms of massing and setbacks. The existing accessory buildings are located adjacent to an accessory building on a neighboring lot to the west. The location of the accessory buildings in the existing building cluster help maintain the ecological integrity of the shoreline, preserving the rear yard as a landscaped area. It is opinion of the staff that the application is minor in nature. Minor in nature is not a mathematical formula, but rather a question of the degree of adverse impact. The existing accessory buildings are not expected to have adverse impact as appropriate separation is provided. The massing of the buildings are compatible with the rural landscape, and the amenity areas of neighboring yards remain unobstructed and private in the rear. Recommendation is that the minor variance application A01-2021 be approved for the following reasons. The proposed variances are minor in nature. The proposed development is appropriate and desirable. The proposed development meets the intent of the official plan as amended, and that the proposed development meets the intent of the municipality of Brighton's comprehensive zoning bylaws amended. So that concludes my presentation. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen here.
Love the pictures.
Okay.
Let's
The
see here.
applicant, is it anyone speaking on behalf of the application?
I'm sorry.
Do you want to speak?
The only thing I wanted to say, and I know that this doesn't really fit. I mean, obviously we are outside of the bylaw, but I just wanted to say that when the buildings were, when we were going to put the buildings up, we did approach the previous neighbors that had lived at 25 Kelly Lane before we did build them, and they had no problems with them. And I realized that in hindsight, we should have applied for a variance at that point and not relied on the goodwill of neighbors, and that was our mistake. And everything else that we would like to mention is all mentioned in our application for the variance. That's pretty much it. And thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else speak in favor of or against the application?
Hello?
Hearing none.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, there was a person who raised their hands there, Pamela Bryson Weaver.
Yes, go ahead, Pamela.
Thank you. First off, just wanted you to know, of course, my husband and I spoke about today's meeting extensively, and my husband is doing dentistry in the prison today, so he couldn't be here. But he did ask me to share this. We at 25 Kelly Lane are in favor of everyone being good neighbors. We never had neighbor issues before moving beside 35 Kelly Lane. We moved west of 35 Kelly Lane. We watched 35 Kelly Lane struggle with neighbors around us, so much so that a family on the east side of 35 Kelly Lane felt they had no other recourse but to move, even though they tried to get help from the town of Brighton and had petitions signed by other neighbors. We were also warned about 35 Kelly Lane, so we were very aware of the controlling behaviors of 35 Kelly Lane, and we made it a point to be friendly neighbors to them. It was not long after the neighbors that the Dentons had numerous complaints against moved away, that 35 Kelly Lane began taking control of us in several different ways. Before we decided to build two small
Sorry,
structures
but
on
does
our
this really have anything to do with the
We-
variance?
Absolutely,
Order,
absolutely.
please.
Please
Speak to the chair. Speak to the chair and through the chair only, please.
Please, Chair, Mr. Chairman, if I could finish what my husband and I would like to share, and we'll be done. Before we decided to build our two structures on our property, we consulted with the municipality building, zoning, and bylaw departments. We gave them plans of our buildings and anything they requested. They also gave us clear guidelines, how far from the property lines they needed to be, what size structures did not require a permit. We were told we did not need a permit, and they had no issues with us building our structures. Knowing what the Dentons were like, I sat down with them personally and let them know about our plans. I did not have to do this. The Dentons never consulted us when they built two structures on their property after we moved next door. When we moved in, there was one structure existing, two more were built. After building our structures, we had realized that the Denton structures were breaking bylaws. They had not applied for a permit for one of the structures that was oversized, and both structures were too close to the property line. They had actually built a fence on our side of the property line as well. Because we wanted to be good neighbors, we did not say anything. And had the Dentons not put a complaint in against us, we would never have said anything. We also chose to build our buildings on the opposite side of our property, an acre away from 35 Kelly Lane. During my discussion with them in their home, neither Tim or Diane had expressed any issues. Almost immediately after building our structures, Tim and Diane put a complaint into the bylaws. When I asked Tim and Diane why they called the bylaws, they said we were blocking their view. The bylaw office sent their complaint to Lower Trent Conservation. After the Lower Trent Conservation performed an inspection, a permit was granted for our structures. That was only one control issue of many. They've tried to control who I hired to clear snow off my lane access. I asked if they would mind if I looked for someone else. They had no issues with this. I had found someone as competent as the person they were using, but offered better pricing, almost a third of the cost. I even paid for both Tim's and my laneway myself 1 year. And it was 1/3 of the price and just as good as anyone I had hired from my last home that was on a much bigger lot and I had a much bigger driveway.
Mr. Chairman, if I may interject for a moment. I just would ask that you speak to the facts of the application.
Okay.
And not background that is outside the scope of the application.
I have one paragraph left that my husband asked me to read. The Dentons began taking pictures of the properties and our property and guests I invited to our property, including their children and belongings. I was forced to call the police and the bylaw office, and they
Sorry, Pamela, can I interject here?
Sure.
Yeah, as Paul mentioned, could you please keep your comments relevant to the issue in front of us here?
Well, it's the property line. They had drilled 3 holes through our irrigation home the day after the police had arrived. And that's on our property line. So that we felt we needed, they suggested we build a high fence. So we called the bylaw office. They told us there were no bylaws. So we felt we never wanted to build the fence. We built the fence. So as soon as the fence was built, of course, they called the bylaw office. Anyways, we've only been here for a few years. We are, to end this, we are in favor and have no objection with this minor variance as long as we are treated equally fair. We've wanted to be good neighbors and we would like to see the Dentons be good neighbors as well. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Chairman.
you. Any other comments?
I would just like to respond to just generally. There was a whole lot of misinformation in there. And again, it has nothing to do with the variance, so I want to comment no further. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I guess just a quick question on my part. It looks like the bylaw people were involved in this issue, and My question is, why is this before us instead of before the Property Standards Committee? And maybe Josh, could you answer that?
Mr. Chairman, I have a little more, maybe a little more background than what Josh has been afforded to date. Pamela was providing some background on that, and that there was a question over the fence. A survey was completed to determine whether the fence was appropriately located. The survey showed that the accessory structures were closer to the property line than what had previously been thought of to be the property line, and flowing from that, the minor variance was sought. Why isn't it under the property standards bylaw? Property standards bylaw deals with more occupancy and maintenance issues, and not necessarily the proper location of an accessory structure.
Yeah. Okay,
So
thank you.
this is the appropriate avenue to consider these issues.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we had already had our land surveyed when we bought the property, and we had given a copy to the bylaw office. We knew long before our fence was built that where our property line was. And the bylaw office asked us to get it redone. So they knew that it was actually where we said it was.
Okay.
And so we
And I
paid
think that,
to do that. Yeah, thank you.
yeah, I think the pictures that Josh presented showed a stake where the actual property line is.
That was
So
the
I don't-
latest one we did. Yeah, the second one. Exactly.
All right. Any other comments for or against the proposal? All right. I believe there's some correspondence that we need to bring out. Who's going to present the correspondence?
I can present them, Mr. Chair. There's two other comments that we've received from neighboring residents.
Yes, go ahead.
So I'll just read them. So the first one is from Melissa, who is the owner of 18 Lakeview Lane. And she has noted, I am writing you in response to a notification I received for minor variance request. I support this application and find no issues that warrant contention. The second one we received was from Pat Atkin, who is the owner of 15 Kelly Lane. She notes in her email to planning staff that both the specified buildings, sheds at 35 Kelly Lane, have been in this location for several years with permission from the previous owner at 25 Kelly Lane, who indicated to my late husband, Wayne, that he has no problems with the sheds being built there. The latest owner has lived here for approximately 7 years and has an issue. I support the application for variance for both of these buildings. And we also, of course, we have correspondence as well from Pamela requesting notice of decision as well. So those are the extent of the comments that we've received from the public.
Was there correspondence from the regarding the waterfront property?
Yeah, so we have received correspondence from I believe it's 18 Lakeview Lane, which is immediately east of the subject lands. And then we received comments from 15 Kelly Lane, which is west of the subject lands, which is west of Pamela's property.
Yeah. Okay, very good.
Just one comment. Directly east of the subject's land is, I don't know if that's 18 or not, is another property that Tim and Diane own.
All right, any other comments, discussion? Are we ready for a decision?
I'd like to ask a few questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Through you, Chair, to the planner. In the description of the property that wants the minor variance, you say that this will not affect fish habitat. I didn't see any stream, brook, or creek anywhere going through that. Where did that statement come from?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that statement came from the letter dated from Lower Trent Conservation. So Lower Trent Conservation notes that in their regulations, Lake Ontario is considered a fish habitat. So they noted in their correspondence that they're not expecting any negative results on that fish habitat.
So are these building within or outside the 30-meter buffer?
They're outside the 30-meter buffer, but they're within the 120-meter influence area.
Is that the influence area? Is that from the new one of 2020 or the old one of 2005?
I don't know the exact date, but I know that's per the PPS, it's 120-meter influence area. So that would be the 2020 PPS.
Okay. They also said that the bylaw officer visited the properties. Is there a report or something from the bylaw officer?
Mr. Walsh, are you aware of any reports from bylaw?
Yes, through the chair, officer was attends to the site, but not in response to this particular application.
Oh, it doesn't apply. Okay.
It was previous to this application being submitted.
The structures that were built that were larger, were there building permits issued to these buildings to be done before they were built? Have they, and if there wasn't, have they requested a building permit?
Mr. Chairman, no building permits were issued. They are under the 104 square feet threshold when a building permit is required.
So they're under, so no building permits are required.
Correct.
Okay, I thank you. The last committee meeting we had on request of minor variance was this, to go from 4.5 meters to 1.2 meters. We didn't allow that, but it was a totally different thing, so it didn't set precedents. And we make decisions and we don't set precedents here, correct, Mr. Planner or Chair, through Chair?
That's correct, Mr. Chair, or through Mr. Chair.
Okay, and the comment on the neighboring property, they built a building in an obstructor view. This is my opinion. If you don't own the view, it is not your view. So I don't look very likely on those, and people say that's obstructor view. So if you don't own it, it's not your view. That's my opinion. So is there any height? Do they meet the height? Are they under the 4-meter height restriction, these buildings?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, they comply with all of the provisions of the zoning bylaw, including height.
Okay. Well, I'm prepared to vote on this.
Okay, we're ready for a motion.
I'll put a motion that the minor variance be approved.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion, or are we ready for a vote? Okay, those in favor? Raise your 2 hands, I see. Motion is approved. But I'm assuming that there was some discussion in the planner's report on conditions. I'm assuming the motion includes those conditions.
Yes.
Okay. All right, motion is carried. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I think we can, we'll move on to the next application, A03 2021.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And we're saying goodbye.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. All right, planning report, again, is that Josh? Are you going to review that?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, I'll provide a brief overview. This one didn't have as much public interest, so I didn't prepare a PowerPoint, but I will provide an overview of what the purpose of the application is. So the purpose of this minor variance application is to seek relief from the following provision of the municipality of Brighton Comprehensive Zoning Bylaws amended. Section 7.2, Table 6, Special Revision 1, to permit the construction of accessory building located 4.3 meters from an environmental protection zone boundary and top a bank, whereas the zoning bylaw prohibits accessory buildings from being constructed within 7.5 meters from an environmental protection zone boundary or top a bank. Staff have reviewed the application and find that it meets the 4 tests of a minor variance. Those being it meets the purpose and intent of the official plan, purpose and intent of a zoning bylaw. It is desirable form of development and is in minor in nature. We have received resident comments on these applications, which I had forwarded to the committee. And Lower Trent had also had some conditions as well. So I will just go over the conditions for approval. The first condition is that a scoped environmental impact study is provided to the satisfaction of the Lower Trent Conservation Authority prior to a building permit being issued. The second one is that a grading and drainage plan is provided to the satisfaction of the manager of capital infrastructure prior to the building permit being issued. The intent here is we have received concerns from neighboring landowners regarding drainage in this area. The intent is to meet with the neighbors to see what their concerns are and work through it with engineering to prepare an appropriate grading and drainage plan to help mitigate some of those concerns. The third condition is that the owner establish front to rear drainage swales within the side yard setback area to effectively convey surface runoff to the receiving waters if required by the manager of capital infrastructure prior to the building permit being issued. I understand from speaking with development engineering staff this morning that there are swales there, so that's something that we'll be taking a look at. The fourth condition is that downspouts shall be designed to direct away from the neighboring property line. And the fifth condition, of course, is that a 20-day appeal period lapse prior to the issuance of any final building permits. So in conclusion, staff are satisfied that this application meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act, provided these conditions are adhered to. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Josh. Okay, applicant to speak on behalf of the application.
Hi, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to note that it looks like one of our participants has not connected to their audio, so I'm not sure if they wish to speak or not. If they are able to hear me, it might be advisable to and leave the meeting and rejoin if you wish to speak.
And Tom, maybe give them a choice of calling in as well. Is that an option?
Yes, it is.
We'll hear it.
I'll actually, I don't have the email for the individual.
Okay.
I guess if we see them leave the meeting, maybe that will show their desire to speak.
Is it Mr. Jared Jones that you think has the issues with the
Yes.
audio? Okay,
Yeah.
I can forward you Jared's email.
Okay.
So I'm confused. What are we doing?
We're just basically trying to help the participant participate. Basically, looks like they having some technical difficulty. So I'm going to resend the link with the phone in option, and hopefully they'll be able to connect with that.
Yeah, okay, very good. We'll just wait a few minutes and see if we can get Mr. Jones online somehow.
Maybe.
Can I get whoever's got the dog barking in the background, could they put their microphone on mute until they're ready to speak?
Hello, Mr. Jones. It's Paul Walsh calling from Municipality of Brighton. We're just in our committee of adjustment meeting, and we're just wondering if you're having difficulty joining us. Okay, I think maybe I'll pass your phone number on to our deputy clerk, and he can provide you with a phone number. Okay, thanks. Bye. Mr. Chairman, I contacted Mr. Jones. He can hear us, but he has no ability to convey anything through audio. So, Tom, if I'm going to shoot you his email or his phone number, and maybe that you can find a way of connecting him by phone.
I just was trying to do that. Unfortunately, I can't edit the meeting while we're in the meeting. So my apologies. I can't send a phone link at this time. The only link that I have access to is just the video. So what I'm going to suggest is if he can leave the meeting, which would just be a little end button somewhere on your screen, depending on your browser, a red end button, and then when they rejoin, you're going to be prompted to join with computer audio, and that's the button you need to hit to be allowed to join with the audio.
Hi, Mr. Jones. Did you hear our deputy clerk explain how to maybe get back into the meeting? Okay, I guess. Yeah, okay, I guess that's not going to work. So our deputy clerk is suggesting you leave the meeting. And then when leaving the meeting, come back into the meeting, but click a different button. It should read computer audio, and that will allow you. Yeah. Do you want me to stay on the line? Okay. Can you check your mic in your system tray at the bottom right of your screen? Hello? Is Mr. Jones? Yeah, no, I was just on the line. Tell me, yes. Okay. Alrighty. Maybe I'll just put you on audio and bring you in that way via my phone. Okay. Okay. Are you presented a mic button and an audio button? Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to put you on hands-free and turn up the volume, and hopefully that'll be sufficient. On the phone. Yeah, do it through the phone. Okay, we'll try that now. Mr. Chairman, I have the Jones application on my hands-free cell phone near my audio portion of my laptop. I'm hoping that they can hear you, and you might be able to hear them now.
Okay, yeah, we're ready to hear Mr. Jones. If go ahead.
Would you like to speak to your application, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I know. Oh, okay. Sorry, go ahead, buddy.
The chair is asking for you to speak to your application.
That's up to Rick. Hold on one second. The chair is asking you to speak to your application. Hello?
Are you able to hear that, Mr. Chairman?
I'm here, yes, it's Richard.
No.
Can you speak a little louder, Richard?
Go ahead. We don't know where they are in the meeting. I don't know where you are in the meeting.
I would just introduce your application to the committee, please.
Well, that's what they were doing. What's that involved?
I guess I'll have to just translate. Yeah. Mr. Jones, do you have anything more to add to your application?
No, it's completed.
Um,
Other than this minor variance, and I also need a scoped environmental inspection surveyor study from the LTC.
Correct. Mr. Chairman, the applicant acknowledging that there's no new information for the applicant to present to the committee. The applicant is acknowledging that the Lower Trent Conservation Authority is asking for a scoped EIS. And I'll just ask the applicant whether or not they understand there's also a request for a lot grading and drainage plan, and that the downspouts are, as a condition of the decision, the downspouts are asked to be directed away from the adjoining property line, and that if need be, there'd be an improvement in the side yard swale to accommodate any extra drainage runoff. Mr. Jones, are you aware of those recommended conditions to your application?
I am now, yes, we can make that happen for sure.
Mr. Jones concurs with those conditions, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Walsh, for effort there getting through. Anyone else speak in favor of or against the proposals? No, and I believe we did have some correspondence. Can we review the correspondence? Is that Josh?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. We did receive an email from the neighbor to the west. So I can read those, but one moment and I'll bring up the email. So we received an email from Tracy Cooper, who is the owner to the property to the west. She's expressed some concerns with the drainage at the time due to building up of the neighboring property. There was some road regrind that was dumped on the property. Yeah. So I'll read the email verbatim, just because there is quite a bit of information on this one. So the email notes, "Hi Josh, thank you for getting back to me so quickly and sending me the Zoom invite. I'm not sure that I can make the meeting as I'm working, but as discussed, I'm forwarding my concerns to bring forth the committee. I don't oppose the minor variance to the neighbor's new garage. However, I do oppose the impact this will have on my property. My gravest concern, as we discussed, is drainage. This is not a new issue for me, as I brought forward the same concern previously. I emailed the bylaw officer drainage concerns at that time due to the building up of the neighboring property. First, because of the road regrind that was dumped, then because of the standing water that would pool in my northeast corner of the property as a result. I still have lingering pieces of this regrind on my property because it was dumped and spreads a good 2 feet on my side. They did their best to clean this up. I still have concerns when they removed the regrind, then put stone down. Stone is still there and used as a parking lot, another bylaw infraction. I've had a great deal of water issues on my property as a result of the development. Although this is being done legitimately, it only increases my concern because nothing has been done in the past when I made inquiries and complaints. My view will be impacted by the large footprint the town is allowing. I know you mentioned there will be an environmental study completed. I do have pictures of the geese and turtles that come in the backyard if interested parties would like those as part of their study. I am attaching some pictures, and in them you'll see the water well above my fire pit, the deepest being during the flood. You'll also see one picture where I'm unable to cut the grass due to standing water in that northeast corner, which also created an influx of mosquitoes. In one photo, you can see the level of the property was nowhere near the height as it is now. I have had to level that area low and continue to get standing water there, but it helps to save the rest of the property, as you can see from photos. Due to the current grade of the property, the water has nowhere to go but push and run to me. Their pool gets drained on this side of the property as well, adding to the water pooling. There are trouts runoff pointing directly towards my house, again causing issues. I've dealt with these things as needed from my side as best as I can, but this new project causes me concern, as happens quite often. People are concerned about their views, without consideration to others. Thank you again for your response, and I can share those photos to the committee just so they're aware of the neighbors' concerns.
I'm not sure if you were going to make that up, Jones. Okay.
Basically, this is the photo of the fire pit with the flood. This is the same picture as well. There's some Google Earth pictures of the regrind. I think it's this area here. And then there's a removal of the regrind as well. So it's grass there. Those are the pictures that were shared with me as well. The applicant, or sorry, the neighbor had also noted to me in an email during the meeting that she's not aware of a swale between the interior side yard on her property. She said that was some grading that's occurred in that area. I had also received one additional comment from a separate neighbor, Mr. Derek Warner. I will read his email. He says he objects to the minor variance at 14 Queen Street East in Brighton, as the garage will be too close to the water and not high enough off the water in case of flooding situation, contamination is leaked into the water. So those are the comments that we've received to date from members of the public.
Any other comments, Mr. Jones?
All right, thank you. And was there a correspondence as well from Lower Trent?
Yes, Mr. Chair, there was some correspondence from Lower Trent. They're requesting an environmental impact study to ensure there are no negative impacts to the adjacent provincially significant wetland.
All right. Further discussion? Mr. LeBlanc. You take your take your thing off mute. We still can't hear you.
Mute Mr. Councilor Blanc.
Put it there. Thank you. Am I off mute now?
Yes.
Yeah, now we can hear you. Good.
Okay, so I was put on mute by the moderator. So
Yeah.
I'm not that fancy with these things. I apologize.
Do we have that power? Is that?
I don't know. I'm old school. I guess I'm part of the baby boomer boom. Through you, Chair, for the planner. Usually when there's an environmental impact study, isn't the study done before we give approval?
In most cases, yes, the environmental impact study is done prior to approval. In this case, Lower Trent is asking for it as a formality due to the PPS requiring no negative impact to the adjacent wetland.
Well, wouldn't this be putting the cart in front of the horse that we grant approval and there's never negative impact that could come from this? So where would that put us? Where would that put us if the study says, or the Lower Trent doesn't agree with the impact study, and all of a sudden we've granted approval? Or would it be better to defer this until the impact study is done?
So typically the EIS would have recommendations which would be outlined. There's very few cases where it would prohibit development. Normally what it would have is a series of recommendations such as prohibiting clearance of vegetation during certain times of year. I'd also like to add that it is outside the regulatory setback. This is more due to the fact that it's within that 120 meter influence window. So my experience with those is typically they're just mitigation measures rather than a full stop to development.
Okay. So your recommendation that we vote on this and we don't defer it?
That is my recommendation, yes.
So if the studies comes and says, the environmental impact study comes and says that it shouldn't be built, so where does it set this committee if we award this?
So essentially the approval is contingent upon the recommendations of the EIS. So if the EIS is negative, then the application wouldn't stand, because prior to issuing a permit, they have to have a satisfactory EIS.
Okay. The other comment is on the asphalt regrind that was put there, which is a PAH. So does anybody know if there's been any leaching from it?
I'm not aware of it. I just was raised this morning. So what we can do is, based on the information we're receiving, due to that, I would recommend that we get a scoped environmental study done for that as well. And that would be an environmental site assessment, not an environmental impact study, to ensure there are no contaminants there.
Could that be added?
That can be added as a condition as well.
I'll take it out of there.
Yeah, but the problem is not to take it out of there now. The problem is it's been sitting there for a number of years. That's the problem.
No, it's not there now. It was gone within the first couple of months that it was laid down. It's been removed a long, long time ago. And they came back and inspected it and said that it was good to go. And that was the LTC.
Was there any samples taken?
Sorry, say that again, please.
Was there any soil samples taken or groundwater samples taken?
Did you get the question? I lost my connection, Chairman. I'll try again. Cell phone dies all the time.
Must be the building.
Josh, would you mind emailing Mr. Jones saying I'm trying to get through? I've lost a cell phone connection.
Sure.
Hello, Mr. Jones, we lost your connection here. Did you hear the question from Councillor LeBlanc of the committee?
No, I never, because we got cut off for some reason.
Councillor LeBlanc, would you mind repeating your question? I have the phone at the computer.
When you said that the LTC was there and they gave the okay, was it done just by visual or was it done by actual soil samples and water samples?
No samples were taken. They came in and they checked it all out and they made me do a few different alternatives there. I planted some stuff to make them happy. I put down grass seed and everything, grew some grass. And they approved it. They gave me a thing saying I was good.
Okay.
They never took any samples, no.
Okay, thank you.
It wasn't there that long. That regrind wasn't there that long, and it was old regrind that I brought in. It wasn't even fresh stuff. Are you basement still there?
Yes, we're still here, Mr. Jones.
Sorry, but I lost you again.
Mr. Chairman, I guess we're good to receive any additional questions if there are any, or for Mr. Jones to present any additional information.
I have no more questions. So.
Mr. Jones indicates he has no more questions or information to share.
Mr. LeBlanc, are you?
Yeah, I just have one question before we vote on this. Is the planning department and staff agreeing with the consent of this minor variance?
We're in agreement subject to the conditions of the scope environmental study and the grading and drainage plan.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Barnes, any questions on your part? I think you're on mute as well.
How's that?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Good.
Okay. What's the square footage of the size of the building? I don't know if it was I couldn't see it on the map or the report.
Through you, Mr. Chair, it's approximately 1,500 square feet.
Okay, and it's on the map. It's labeled as a garage, but then in your report, Josh, he says it's just a storage building. Is that correct?
That's correct. The applicant had indicated to me that they only intend on using it for storage and no vehicles, because I had expressed concern with there being no driveway access to the garage.
Do we know what it's going to look like? Is there going to be a garage door on it?
Yes, there is. Yes, I've seen the building elevations.
Like a door so that, let's say in the future, it could be used as a garage?
There's a possibility it could be used as a garage, but they would have to apply for an access permit from the municipality to provide access to it.
Okay.
Just can I comment on that? There are vehicles at the back of the property now, I mean, if you can drive over a lawn, you can have access to the garage. I don't understand that comment.
Jones?
Are we,
Josh, I understand. Is
Okay.
You cut it off if you're in there for some reason.
Through the chair to Member Barnes, did you have a question for the applicant? I have them back on the line.
okay, I just well, I guess it's to Josh. I understand Lower Trent has issued a permit.
Correct. Yes, Lower Trent has issued a permit for this garage.
Okay, and there's a number of conditions on that permit as well.
Yes, that's correct.
How do we enforce those? I know one particular one that's I saw there was that the property be revegetated or remediated immediately after construction. Like, do we go out and inspect this after and all that?
Well, Mr. Walsh, I'll let you add in if I'm incorrect here, but I believe it would be up to Lower Trent Conservation Enforcement Officer to make sure those conditions are adhered to, as it's part of their permit.
Through the chair in response, yeah, if it's under the regulatory areas, then yes, that would be subject to their implementation as a conservation authority. Outside of that, then an implementation would occur through either conditions of this decision, if one were to be made, or additional conditions such as a development agreement.
Go ahead, Doug.
No, go ahead. You're finished.
Just ask the applicant, what, do you need such a large building? Can't you, like, it's 10 feet into the setback from the top of the bank. What would 10 feet take off your square footage?
Mr. Judge, did you hear the question?
Not too familiar how that would work.
The question is if the bulk of the structure could be reduced by reducing its length by about 10 feet.
The length?
Yeah, just increase the setback from the top of the bank.
Is that the best we can do is 10 feet, or could it be less?
Well, whatever.
Talking 10 feet from the bank, because that wouldn't be the length of the garage, that would be the width.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, what size would the building be if you did meet the bylaw from top of bank, 7.5 meters?
It wouldn't be worth building. Be like a shed. A little bit bigger than a shed, I guess.
55 feet if you took
There's quite a bit comes out the one corner of it.
Massive double bay that he would lose half of a single bed. He's gonna put.
So there's to be no driveway to this building?
No, it's just storage for my pickup trucks. They're looking to build a big toy box.
Okay.
But they still allow for the parking of vehicles, storage vehicles.
This area, he lose half of his.
So you use a bay.
Is the, to the planner, is this building going to be higher than 4 meters? Does it pass for a storage shed? Does it require?
Actually, the designer's got it 12 feet. Exactly, they're 11'8" to the inside.
11'8", okay, that's good.
With a 4x12 roof.
By 12 roof.
It's the code, according to the designer.
Yeah.
412 pitch.
Or 12 pitch.
Yes.
So just so I'm clear, so any building permit application wouldn't be acted upon until the EIS had been completed and any mitigating factors were included?
That's through you, Mr. Chair, that's correct. Lower Trent had issued a permit for this already, but due to the PPS requirements for a minor variance, they're asking for the EIS now as well, because now it's considered development under the act instead of a building permit. So we've recommended a condition that the EIS is satisfactory prior to issue a permit.
Thank you.
So since you're going to be joined, well, I got one more question for the planner. So if we grant this today, can we put in a provision that as long as he meets all the conditions before he starts building to the Lower Trent and to the municipality of Brighton?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, I would recommend that the condition specifies that Lower Trent has to be satisfied prior to any issuance of any permits.
Okay.
So that you'd get sign off, a written sign off from Lower Trent that their conditions have been met.
Correct. The CBO would have to be satisfied that Lower Trent is satisfied prior to issuing a permit.
Okay, the one that's still stuck in my craw here is after the fact, after the construction, where the site be revegetated and all that. That would be after building permit and after construction.
Yes.
In terms of enforcement of that.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, as Mr. Walsh had alluded to, we can it's a condition of Lower Trent permit, so they would be responsible for ensuring those conditions are adhered to. Or B, we could enter into a separate development agreement, which the municipality in Brighton would have to enforce.
I'd be more comfortable going that direction rather than Lower Trent.
So would I.
Okay. Mary Ann, is Mr. Walsh available?
Yes, I'm here, Josh. Yeah.
Okay.
Just holding a phone up to the mic.
Sorry, I can't see you there. Through you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Walsh, is there a development agreement that we could, put some language of a condition to that effect to ensure that things are vegetated and other conditions of LTC are satisfied? I think what the committee is asking is just an extra layer of approval and review to ensure that these things are adhered to.
Through the chair, in response to the question, yes, I have a sample agreement that I've relied on in the past.
Okay. Does that answer everybody's questions? Any further discussion?
One more for the swale. Is he going to do like a grade plan agreement and showing the design of the swales?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, we've asked for a detailed grading and drainage plan, which would indicate any mitigation measures, including swales, if required. And as a part of that, the development engineering staff will go out and review the site. And we also feel it's prudent to review that with the neighbors as well to make sure that appropriate engineering and mitigation measures are adopted.
Okay. Thank you. Now I know why you've been hired. You're a smart young man.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Are we ready for a motion?
I would agree to the minor variance with everything that was just said by our new young planner and Mr. Barnes.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Barnes. And I think, is that clear to Josh, that you know all the conditions that this motion refers to?
Through Mr. Chair, yes, it's clear. It's the same conditions that are outlined in the staff report, with an addition of a development agreement ensuring LTC mitigation measures are enforced and reviewed by the municipality of Brighton.
Okay, thank you. We're ready for a vote. Those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you.
You hear that okay, Mr. Jones?
Okay, thank you, everybody. I think we're
Welcome.
at the end of the meeting. Next meeting will be at I guess whenever there's a requirement. Mary Ann will tell us.
Yes.
Mary Ann, could you?
And is Mr. Barnes going to be staying on the committee or leaving?
Well, my intent is to stay. I don't,
Okay, I thank you, because you are a great addition and a good team member. And
Thank you.
you'll certainly be missed. I'll tell you, and your expertise on this is invaluable. And so have been Mr. Kovac. As a counselor that I don't have the knowledge and the expertise you guys have, I really appreciate working with you guys. And I apologize. I thought it was 11 o'clock to everybody. And I thank you very much, Mary Ann, for getting me on track. Thank you.
Anyway, yes, and I think this is the first virtual meeting that we've had, and we sort of stumbled through it, I guess, and successfully. So hopefully the next meeting we will have in person, so we can, I think, works out much better without the technical bugs and whatever. So anyway,
Yes.
thank you, everybody. Mary Ann, would you let us know what we need to do to sign the papers?
Yes, we'll have Mr. Berry complete any revisions if needed to the 2 drafted notices of decision. I suspect he would have those completed today, in which case then I would invite you at your leisure tomorrow to come in to sign those.
Okay. Good.
Okay, that's
okay,
agreeable to everyone?
Yes.
that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you again, everybody, and
And a motion to adjourn now, Mr. Chair?
motion to adjourn. I don't think we need a vote on that.
We
We're
vote.
adjourned.
11:22 a.m.